Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're out here on an early morning trying to get some rosemary propagations, and this is a very easy one for us. We put these right into soil with an all-natural rooting hormone, the same rooting hormone we always use. We take a large chunk of aloe vera and use this for our rooting hormone. We just stick our cuttings right in here and right to the soil. Very simple process. We are taking all of these rosemary cuttings. These ones are developed. These are about 2 weeks old for us, and they've been sitting in the greenhouse nice and shady and protected on our cool floor. We just shared our video on how we keep our floor cool in here, and that is very pertinent to keeping these cuttings in the right environment and keeping the base of them cool, even if the airspace is 100 degrees plus. So let's jump right into this. I've got this large rosemary over here. I have this large rosemary bush. We just took a top cutting from this, and see how I've taken this. You'll basically just peel the bottom back. We will take our cutting, stick it right in there. We've got it covered in our aloe juice. So I'll bring everybody down here. I had just taken that cutting, covered it in the aloe juice, and this is the extent of it. So this is a very simple process. We've got our aloe down here, we've got our large rosemary bush, and I've got these rosemary cuttings that have been in here for about 3 weeks or so, and that is just amazing. Nice, perfect rosemary cutting there. And these are ready to get potted up. They're actually starting to get a little root bound because they have been in here for a little over 3 weeks, I would say. But this is a perfect plant to pot up. I can smell the rosemary coming off of it as it's waving around. So this is just super simple. We have all of these rosemary cuttings, and you can see, I'll show the bottom of these. You can see some roots sticking out the bottom of these, and these are only about 2 weeks old. They've been sitting in this little container. I kind of have them all over. I just keep them in our greenhouse. That is the key factor for keeping all of these rosemaries alive. You can see these rosemaries we had propagating about a month ago here, and they are full-blown plants. Those could go in the ground and probably have flowers in our zone before the winter has killed them off. I've even got one of my toothache herbs in here that we had propagated from a cutting also. That's a very simple one. We do it the same exact process that we use for propagating our rosemary here. Now this aloe vera is so much healthier for you and your plants. When you are rooting, you do not want all those noxious chemicals to root these plants up. There's so much better natural ways of doing this. And you see how I have this tray that has water in the bottom there. That is another key factor. You want to keep these nice and moist at the bottom. You don't want to continually be watering the soil down, because if you're watering a lot of this from the top to the bottom, it can wash a lot of that rooting hormone away and cause your plants to dry out if it's very, very hot out like it has been here. We've had 90s plus for a couple months now, and that is not good for rooting plants. So we like to keep these in the greenhouse, keep them nice and cool. When you're taking these cuttings, you really only have to grab a node or two, and I've found that the woodier growth is a little bit harder to root up on these rosemary. If you have a nice fresh plant, see how all of these are fresh growths. There's no thick, hard, woody grains or anything like that. It will actually turn kind of woody. You can see at the bottom it's starting to turn a little brown where it has actual bark on it, kind of like a tree. That is not as easy to root as these fresh cuttings here. All of these are super simple to take when you do it the right way. This is another one that's about 3 weeks old here. We will stick this right into this pot, and that is done. We will be able to sell that at our local market in a week or so here as those roots start to develop and break out of that little 1x1 cell that we had them growing in, because they kind of get a little root bound, but those roots are just searching for nutrients and searching for more space to grow. So I figured while I was out here drinking my coffee this morning and propagating some rosemary, I would share with everyone the natural, simple process of getting these rooted up. And it's a 1 to 2 week turnover time. These will root up and we will be able to repot them, and we can have a whole fleet of rosemary to sell at our market here. And one more observation I like to make is that your rosemary has a lot of undifferentiated cells. It will start to throw roots off of basically anywhere. It doesn't absolutely need a node like most of your hardwood cuttings or your perennial cuttings. These will pretty well start to root off from anywhere on the plant. See, this is a 1 week old plant. You can see how it's not so root bound. We should probably pot these out also. This has only been in here for shortly over a week there, and it's definitely not holding the soil together with all of its roots, but it's got a lot of root growth. It is ready to go in a larger pot. So I just wanted to share that quick bit of information with everybody because it is super simple to get this going. We do the same thing with our lavender. There's a lot of plants you can propagate with this method. And even if you're not selling plants, you can propagate a whole row of whatever plant you really enjoy or whatever plant you find that you use a lot of, and you can multiply that so you can have a bountiful harvest throughout the entire season here.